The pandemic has set us back immeasurably, or I guess you can measure, but I would say about 15 years, if not more. And I think we were really making progress with women in the workforce. And then the pandemic happens, and 4 times more women left their jobs in the workforce. And it's because they were the first ones that had to take care of their children and their parents. And that it has not even been close to being made up yet. So we have a lot of work to do.
You have talked a lot about the studies and the research that have shown that equal pay for women would add billions of dollars to the American economy. It boosts businesses, it boosts society as a whole. But you've said also that the private sector has a fundamental responsibility to address this issue, that every business needs to take a really hard look at these conversations. As an entrepreneur yourself who's scaled a massive organization and someone who sits alongside some of the world's most influential leaders in business, what actions should CEOs be taking right now to create more urgency and press on this issue in a more fundamental way in their businesses?
I mean, let's just start with saying it's good for business. Women are good investments and they're excellent for business, and they think differently than men. So I think it's very short-sighted for CEOs in any kind of company to think that if they don't have women that are represented at the right percentages, if not in high-level jobs and on the board, it's a big miss, and it's a big miss from a business perspective. So I talk about it all the time to cross categories of all kinds of businesses. And I can tell you, people have to start being accountable and companies have to start being accountable.
How do you think we can achieve that type of transparency? Obviously, we know it's good for business. A lot of times, though, when companies do audits, the pay audits, it shows that there's still a lot of progress to be made. How do you address that within organizations, or what are the conversations like with the leaders when you press them on this need that's so urgent?
Well, let's start with my own company, because I think that we have to be good examples. So we are doing those audits. We are constantly checking different discrepancies that might come up and fixing them. And I think you have to be on top of it. But I have to say, we're a company that's 85% women. So it's a different environment. That said, I think that we all have to own this conversation, women and men. If it's women just talking about this, we're going to be talking about it for a very long time and not making any progress. So we need men to be actively engaged, partnering with women. And I can tell you, when you talk to fathers about their daughters and the fact that they might be not represented in the same way or paid equally to men, they have a problem with it. So we have to really reset the conversation and make it a conversation that's happening with women and men about women in the workforce. And for once and for all, saying that this is not a favor, it should be a given, and it's good for business.